All right, welcome in, guys. Josue Pavone at the Garden, Bobby Manning doing Bobby Manning things, and I am here, done watching the Patriots game because why bother? I have jumped on the Celtics bandwagon. Um,
Welcome aboard.
That's that's crazy that ended up being the fun game tonight.
oh my God! So I'll let you guys take this away. I've been watching as well, but why? I mean, good to hold off the Bulls. They were short. This was almost a loss, but they made clutch plays in the fourth late, played good defense in the fourth late, which is something you can't say of a lot of other games that they've had this year. So they didn't wilt. This was kind of
Yeah.
the opposite. They let it slip away from them a little bit,
Right.
but they made the plays late. So you got to give them credit for that. That was big. That was the big the way they closed it.
Yeah, you know what? I think you just nailed it, John. For Celtics fans out there, I mean, this is progress. It doesn't feel like it. I'm sure it doesn't because you're like, oh, deja vu, here we go in that fourth quarter. But at least if you compare this win to the others, it was one of the biggest things that I took away from it was that they didn't have to play uphill. Sure, the Bulls hung around. Sure, it wasn't comfortable throughout. It was
Right.
essentially the entire game. But the Celtics stayed ahead. And if not, they were – yeah, they lost the lead for a little bit there in the second half, but then they came right back, and it teetered back and forth. But they grind this one out. They
Right.
fought for this one in that fourth quarter.
Right. It
Bulls
had
went
the
on it.
makings. It had the makings of a really of a game that was going to piss you
Yeah,
off, right?
you
Because
come out of
and that's why I felt like
the
deja
Bulls are
vu.
down. The Bulls are
Right.
down a ton of players, and this is a game you should have handily. And you're down 6, late in the fourth, and you're like, and again, that almost slipped away here for a team that should not have hung with you tonight. So this
Right.
was trending towards one of those get on the post game and start screaming about what's wrong. How could they lose to this team? So they won it. So good. They won it. Great. With plays from multiple people. Jason Tatum defense. Tatum was great with the blocks. Dennis Schroeder making a nice pass. That's not how he
Schroeder was
usually
awesome down the
Yes, hold on,
stretch.
Bobby.
That
Hold on.
left-handed layup.
That's
I
not
was
how
gonna
he
say, let's keep
contributes.
up Bobby nice and let's keep it going here.
Rob Williams making 4 free throws. Like a
Oh,
lot.
huge.
Like
Well,
that
that's what I
stuff
mean.
is all
Exactly,
right.
John. Like that's the kind of experience that these guys need, especially someone like Robert Williams. That's a
Something,
huge
right?
spot. That's a
Yeah.
Should we
huge
start
spot.
with
To go
Rob?
4 for 4, pressure free throws, and then to pull it out. I think again, it's something that that experience they're gonna need that. These 5 in particular. I mean, maybe not Schroeder, but big picture wise, I think those 4 guys and Williams, Tatum, Brown. They need to go through these sort of these stretches, down the stretch where they need to come up with stops. That was the one thing I was thinking to myself, like, I didn't think that they would be able to pull it out because I was like, they haven't been able to put together 1, 2, 3 stops in a row, and that's exactly what they did in that fourth quarter.
I want to get to some of the gripes from this game, but let's start off positive because it's a win. Rob with 4 straight free throws late. He was, what,
Huge.
68% from the line coming into this one. Not a guy I've had a ton of confidence in that spot over the last couple of years here. I think he's officially now 66% on the season. I don't know if that's updated from tonight. Probably not. But huge spot. Just a ginormous pressure situation where this team and him in some regard too haven't been great. And he was just right down the middle in those spots. The first 2 kind of bounced around. The second 2 for the win essentially there were just right through. So he has certainly improved that. You've always liked the shooting stroke that he has, John. So there's certainly potential for him to be a better free throw shooter than he has been. But overall, his whole game, high post, inverted sets, give and goes with Brown. We're talking, let's say, 2 weeks of his best play of his career, like the longest stretch of consistent, awesome play from Rob ever.
Right. Like, it's funny, like Rob, like I love my analogies, but like I made the Neo one where like he's still discovering he's the one and he doesn't know. And like he's got all these tools he can unlock. And that another one I always think of is like Will Ferrell in Old School when he goes in the trance, during the debate and says all of this stuff he didn't know. Like I do think if Rob like has these weird
You're talking
out-of-body
about the therapy session?
No. When he's doing the debate thing.
Yeah, it's right at
in
the
Old
end. At
School.
the end, yeah, okay, gotcha.
And he's like, oh, what happened? Like Rob has these moments where he does this stuff and you're like, where did that come from? And like even early in the first quarter, he had that little, that he catches a pass and he's like, okay, dribble and like a little floater in the lane. I'm like, that's just a that's a crazy
Right.
touch shot, and like that takes a lot of like feel. And
Yeah.
it's just not something every big can like pull out of their bag. I think he's got stuff there. He just hasn't really harnessed it, and he just
Yeah.
is, so it's a matter of just unlocking some of that stuff. But he was great.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
you
glad you
saw some
mentioned that
big to
because
big passing in this one too.
one of
And he
those
made great passing when he comes up high. He had that great backdoor to Jalen. You know,
Mhm.
No, but I'm
great
more
again.
into him going the other way, right? Like putting when he has his back to the basket and he oh no, rather he has it he's facing the basket and he'll turn, That was driving us crazy a month ago. This time
A
around,
little
I
bit.
want to say it was the first personal foul where he caught it, gathered himself, and he didn't turn his back to look to make a pass. He went straight up with it and got him to the free throw line and earned that the hard way. I think that was part of his game, his offensive game that was driving me crazy this past month. But he didn't even hesitate in that play on that play.
Yeah,
With less than a minute left in the game, that's a huge spot. You want to see more of that. From Rob. Late in games.
and having the bonus there on the Vucevic foul is them going downhill a ton in this game, shooting almost
Hustling.
all their first shot baskets at the rim. They got away from that a little bit in the second half, but overall they were pretty aggressive in this game, going at the smaller Chicago wings. The Bulls are pretty much out all of their defensive wings, and certainly their two good players with size there in Ball and Levine. So they were missing a ton defensively, and the Celtics took advantage of it. They went to the rim time and time again. It was a great game to do the splits with the big men and have the ball in their hands. So you got a ton out of that. You certainly took it to them early and set a tone in this game. You held a lead for large stretches, like Joe Sway said. They were going to make their run. They shoot 8 of 13 for that stretch where they took the lead from 3. They were just knocking down everything. Ayo Dosunmu was
Oh
unbelievable.
man.
So yeah, this is a good win. This is a rock solid win. Even though you're supposed to beat this team and blah 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 blah, you played well for most of it. You nearly blew it with some key miscues in the fourth, but you got up on your feet. You had that bonus late, and you take advantage of a big break there on the foul call and walk out of here without even needing to run a late game set. And they had to get a pair of stops there after that too. A good one on Vucevic. He got a decent look, and then you get the fall on DeRozan there. So execution just getting better. A win like the Pacers won a week ago, a win like this one, when you're getting to practice these situations again, John, it's great, right? Like this is where they're stumbling, and it feels like every single night they're getting a chance to practice this. They're not practicing, they're not doing shoot arounds. It's tough to replicate these situations. So it's great that even against a bad team, you're being in these spots over and over again. You'd rather have this than a blowout win over one of these teams. You'd feel better about a blowout and just taking it to them. But we know this team's not
They've
capable of
got to
that.
start. They have to start right winning some tight, close games. So yeah, you'll
Right.
take this. You'll take the Pacers for sure. I had a blowout again, guys.
There goes John.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Bobby, because that's where you face those challenges that you're not going to see every single night, and how you respond obviously is a reflection of progress. And I think this is one of those, in particular, fourth quarter where you can say the Celtics, they survived that, and that's a good thing. Obviously that huge run by the Bulls is not ideal, especially when you consider how well this team's been playing defensively. I mean, they give up 22 points in the first like 6-7 minutes of that fourth quarter. I mean, that wasn't what Chicago was able to do throughout the entire game, but you got the sense that they were going to just completely take over. But the Celtics, they fought back, and of course Tatum had a lot to do with that. But again, those 3 consecutive stops, I thought were huge, especially when you got guys like Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan. When DeRozan was coming downhill, and he was lining it up in that second half, and so was their other shooters as well. And while the Celtics were trying to stop the bleeding, they were able to execute on the other end, offensively.